Welcome to another scriptural study. In this scriptural study, we will be exploring atheism, religion, and Christmas, and the question if this is a toxic mix, while focusing on the following scriptural verses, let alone many more within this scriptural study. As always, please place your monitors on full screen, and to feel free to stop the video at any time to review the material being presented in greater detail. We will start by providing definitions on what atheism is. What is religion? What is Christmas? And if there is a toxic mix happening with all three. So, let's begin with category 1. What is atheism? Based on any simple dictionary search, we will find the definition to be a lack of belief or a strong disbelief in the existence of a god or any gods, and a philosophical or religious position characterized by disbelief in the existence of a god or any gods. And as an example, atheists adhere to the scientific facts that none of these man-made gods and or deities had a birthday on the pagan man-made calendars of December 25th, because they do not exist and never have. And yes, this includes the newest addition to the man-made December 25th God list, known as the man-made Jesus deity, which is approximately only 500 years old. Because isn't it true that atheists like to claim they have a thoughtful, honest, ethical, intelligent, skeptical thinking approach based on scientific disciplines? More, of course, on this later in the presentation. Okay then, what is religion? Any dictionary search will reveal that religion is a particular system of faith, worship, and tradition. And a tradition is an inherited, established, or customary pattern of thought, action, or behavior as a religious practice or social custom, which is based on a belief or story, or a body of beliefs or stories relating to the past that are commonly accepted as historical, though not verifiable, which inherently becomes something known as fundamentalism, in which a movement of people adhere to a tradition of beliefs with an attitude of stressing strict and literal adherence to a set of basic principles, as per the annual Christmas worldly faith system, which is an excellent example of religious traditional fundamentalism. There is no irony, then, that the Scripture and its writings do not support these types of religious traditions in any shape, form, and or manner. Because world religions are non-scriptural, as they promote a person to pursue interests to which someone and or the traditional fundamentalist movement ascribes supreme importance, and why many dictionaries include consumerism as the new religion in their definitions. And if you know your history, you may be aware why the Babylonians, Egyptians, Persians, and Romans, like the world religions today, want to keep Christ in Christmas. It is called silly season for a reason, isn't it? Because when it comes to insanity, there is really nothing new under the sun, is there? And yes, Many will be home for Christmas once again, thus proving it really is not that hard to lead the masses astray, is it? Even the definition of the word religious reveals that it is a devotion to religious observances and traditions. Yes, the answer is clear from a basic dictionary: who and who is not a traditional fundamentalist. Because isn't it true that it takes a scrupulous, conscientious, faithful, and fervent effort to participate in traditional fundamentalism? Yes, religious fervor is all about devotion, isn't it? Which is nothing but an act of devoting time, money, and energy. Which is truly a fact and our state of being ardently dedicated and loyal to a cause. Sounds like a cult, yes? With its rituals for its body of adherents, which is regarded as unorthodox or spurious. Spurious, and its definition, literally means of illegitimate birth, in that its traditions are without having genuine qualities and or are false, or basically falsified, due to its erroneous origins, which were forged of a deceitful nature or quality. When one studies the word religion, one quickly learns that Scripture does not support the world and its world religions. The word religion is mentioned only twice in the original manuscripts and shows up now 6 times in the newer translations, and is never presented as something positive and or good for a society. So, what is Christmas? The English term Christmas is of fairly recent origin. What does that mean? The form of the letter J was unknown in any alphabet until the 14th century, and not fully adopted until the 16th century. Yes, Jesus is the latest installment of the December 25th gods of man-made origin. None of these man-made deities are the Messiah, the one anointed of Yah. But many of these December 25th gods originate with the ancient man-made myths of the Christmas mother and child story, don't they? Yes, the age-old real sacred name movement is alive and well. Please think. Our kids are not stupid. They will find out about the lies atheists and world religionists tell them. It is the information age. A simple Google search reveals Christmas has its origins in the winter solstice, and as such, why man-made religious traditions has the world and its followers gathering in the cold dead of winter, and Scripture has its followers gathering at other times. Because a simple search on what is Christmas can help a self-proclaimed atheist to truly become a thoughtful, honest, ethical, intelligent, skeptical thinker. Because Christmas originated with Nimrod, his wife Semiramis, and their child Tammuz, who was also born on December 25th in Babylon. The entire earth has been led astray. This includes world religions and atheists alike, which indeed ignore the etymological, historical, and archaeological facts as uncovered by scientific and empirical evidence, which proves why the way of Yahuwah is too scriptural for world religions and self-proclaimed atheists alike, and why they will not come out of her. And all because they trust their own will and their own opinions rather than the true empirical evidence. So why then Are atheists, world religionists, and Christmas a toxic mix? Is it because they all together as one go astray? Based on the Scripture, world religions with their traditions were created to lead the world astray into coexistence, ensuring that everyone follows the way of Balaam, which is nothing other than a perverted religious tradition of covetousness, which has been consciously designed to blunt the sensitive nerve of love, blur the picture of life, banish the fruit of generosity, breed the worm of discontent, and burden the spirit with sorrow. Yes, indeed, the way of Cain is the delusion of Balaam, which is totally opposite to the highway and way of Yahuwah, called the way of set-apartness. And no fools wonder on it, because they wonder elsewhere in the world. Because Nicolaitans always attempt to take away and or add to Scripture, which the Father hates, and why the Word does not promote and or support traditional fundamentalism. World religions and atheists alike teach the way of Balaam, let alone the way of the Nicolaitans, as they both demonstrate excellent skill sets at the process of syncretism, which has them always attempting to add their religious traditions with the intent to mix them with only some of the truths from Scripture, which of course is a non-scriptural practice. Because religious traditional fundamentalism is always a form of crossbreeding in which the scientific community has proven to be problematic at best in so many ways. Because this religious traditional fundamentalist system is a very dangerous hybrid, if you will, as the true meaning behind having belief as a tiny mustard seed exposes the flaws in the false hybrid seed. In the world of empirical science, hybrid biology attempts to create offspring resulting from crossbreeding, which to date has caused various sickly mutations, up to and including death, because the embryo dies after one cell division. Please allow us to explain. You can take a plum seed and a peach seed, which are true seeds, and when crossbred, you will get or end up with a nectarine tree. However, if you took a nectarine seed and planted it, you will not grow a nectarine tree, for it is a hybrid, and any hybrid has no life within itself and thus cannot reproduce. The only thing it can produce within itself is death. Another example, we can take a horse and a donkey, and if we crossbreed them, we will come up with a mule. However, if you try to take a female mule and a male mule to attempt to make a baby mule, it will be impossible, for they are a hybrid, and as such cannot reproduce, and thus the only thing it can produce within itself is death. One more example is a hybrid corn seed. It will grow to be huge and bountiful and look so nice. You can eat it, and you can even can it to eat it later. But save some kernels from the hybrid corn to plant for next season, and you will get nothing, for it is a mix or a hybrid, and as such has no life within itself, and can only produce death. However, if I planted a true seed of corn, I can eat it when it is harvested and can store some for later use. And here is the amazing value of a true seed. I can save kernels of that true corn to plant the next season, and it will grow, for it has life within itself, and it will bring life. It may not look as big and beautiful as the hybrid. It may not yield the largest harvest as the hybrid, but it will continue on, season after season, forever. Because a true seed has life within itself to do just that. Of all of the seeds that the Almighty Yahuwah has placed on this earth, all can be hybridized, except for one lone tiny seed. It is the mustard seed that cannot in any way, shape, form, or fashion be a hybrid. It can only be a mustard seed. Its very DNA is designed to do nothing else but be a mustard plant that produces mustard seed. Because we hear so many people incorrectly interpret the scripture about the mustard seed, and as such they just focus on its size. But the real story here is the following. The mustard seed cannot be mixed. The belief of the way of Yahuwah is not to be added to, mixed, and are taken away with the Nicolaitans' religious traditions. The way of Yahuwah is like the mustard seed. It cannot be mixed. So, keep your eye on the traditional fundamentalists, as per the dictionary and encyclopedia definitions, because all hybrid organisms are only capable of producing death. In fact, the word Nicolaitans comes from two Greek words, Nico, meaning to conquer, and Laeton, meaning the people. So please, share with all atheists and co-religionists alike during silly season. They do not have to follow the Pope and his agents. Share with everyone you can that ignorance is not bliss. Remember, none of us should be conquered by the second Babylon. Yes, we are not ignorant. We do know where the toxic mix originated from. The mother of whores is exposed. We know who the Babylonian deity of fortune is, and as such, why our Father, the Almighty Yahuwah, does not give his esteem to another, nor allow his praise to be given to idols. If only atheists and co-religionists alike would do their diligence to truly learn that God is indeed man-made. Because the world's best example of irony is that God is man-made, and that the Almighty Yahuwah is self-existent. And etymologically, his name literally means, quote, I am he who is self-existent, end of quote. Yes, we know who God is. And thus why there is no peace in the world, because the world gives glory and not esteem. The world worships God and not the Almighty Yahuwah. The world takes away and adds and mixes Scripture. Because notice how the newer translations omit who receives peace and who does not, and more importantly, why. And is it any wonder that atheists and co-religionists of this world today do not want to recognize that the apostles were the real atheists of their day, as they did not bow down to the pantheon of gods that were worshipped during silly season in their time. Again, none of us have to be conquered to bow down to any of this silly season nonsense that has existed since the days of Babylon. Take a break from being conquered and save some money at the same time, and help everyone you can out of the world religious cult of Christmas. Because atheists and co-religionists together are sitting at the same campfire, unwittingly roasting each other. Because silly season is when atheists and world religions alike come together in this toxic mix to celebrate, all in the name of coexistence. As per the word, quote, "Do not love the world, nor that which is in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him." End of quote. If only the atheists and co-religionists would actually free themselves in order that they could drive on the highway of set-apartness. So let us all come out of her, because the Messiah, Yahushua, has let us know who his true family is, as the Messiah's family are not the ones who attempt to conquer the people with compromising doctrines of religious, traditional fundamentalism, but rather a belief as a mustard seed that cannot be mixed. And please do not get frustrated and or angry if the evidence does not change the will and or opinion of others when you first share these facts. Think about how long it took for each of us to come to these truths, let alone make the necessary changes. Remember, the Apostle Shaul in Galatians chapter 4, verses 7 through 11, was amazed himself how some went back again to the weak and poor elementary matters, where some people were wishing to be enslaved again by traditional fundamentalism captured in the religious silly season time periods. Regrettably, there are many who know the stake doesn't exist, and they don't care. So the punchline is this with this scriptural study video. It is obvious that atheists and co-religionists alike do not mind being conquered, and as such cannot be considered as a thoughtful, honest, ethical, intelligent, let alone skeptical thinker as they claim. We continue to pray in the name which is above all names that these scriptural study videos provide value to you and your loved ones. Until next time, Yahuwah willing, may Yahuwah continue to keep and guard you, and may his Son, the Messiah, Yahushua, help you to do all things, all the best, in the name which is above all names.